Hello again, guys and girls, the GOW4 community. Welcome to episode 3, 4, I'm not sure. Somewhere around that area of the road to GOW4. I know it's been a little while. I've done a few commentaries in between because I really wanted to do that last commentary. But back to the series. Today we are covering rifles. And so, to those of you who have been following the series, you know that I originally wanted to do this whole thing in one giant kind of video so I could get it out there and it could just be a thing and everybody could enjoy it, and you know, I could get the point across really quickly and really simply. But when you have a video that's an hour and a half long, it doesn't really work. And what's even worse was I had to try and fit weapon balance into a kind of 20-minute time slot, which really, for weapon balance is like half of the game. I mean, you know, there's so many different mechanics in it, but I think weapon balance covers pretty much half of the game. So I think that what I'm going to do, or what I am doing, is splitting up weapon balance into lots of different sections. So today we are covering the section I like to call rifles. So what you're watching today is a gameplay of a pickup scrim. We're playing a bit of King of the Hill, Dry Dock, as I do like to play. I love a bit of King of the Hill on Dry Dock. I think it's probably one of my favourite maps, just after checkout. But anyway, so I think it's really good at illustrating my point because there's a lot of rifle play and a lot of me pushing people with rifles. There's a lot of pinning and things. It was a pickup scrim, so it wasn't like as horrendous as playing a proper full team versus full team scrim, because then it's just rifles galore. So there was quite a bit of Nasher play as well, but I think you get my point, whereas you can see me using a lot of rifles, well, Lancer in general, because we don't use the other rifles. But yeah, you get my point. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to split this up into two different parts. I want to discuss why the rifles are a problem and then how to fix them. So the thing is, I don't really believe that 90% plus of the community, all the public players, the ranked players, the quick players, I don't think these kind of players really understand to the extent of how bad the rifles were in Gears of War 3. I reckon they were still pretty bad in Gears of War Judgment, but seriously, in Gears of War 3, it was horrible. And I cannot believe that anybody who's only played Quick Match or Rank Match really understands how bad it is. I mean, you only have to participate in a scrim against a really sweaty team. You know, a team that's a LAN team, that's a high-up competitive team, something like that, where they're really going for it, and that's when you really start to understand how bad the rifles are, because you get put in a situation where it's like 1v2 on execution, and you just like you want to push a 1v because you know the guys are splitting up to pin you in, but you can't push that 1v because he's sat back and he's lancering you and you can't get anywhere near him because of stopping power. Then you want to go after the other guy and he does the same. You know, you're in a King of the Hill and the guy's just kind of lancer strafing you because, you know, you found a 1v and he's just there like, nah, I'm just going to sit here with my Lancer. And there was even a guy at EGL8 called NV Fitz who made it his own little thing to be known as the guy who always used his Lancer and who was like the best at Lancer strafing. And it's all he did and all he still does. I've still played a couple of scrims with him and he just, like, all he does is run wide and just start holding down the trigger on his active Lancer, and it's just crazy. But this is why the rifles were a problem, because you just could not push them. It's like they were better than Nashers in 1v1s, and that's just not how it should be. I think for the best way for people to illustrate this point, or for me to illustrate this point, is, you know, if you haven't experienced anything like this, go into a 1v1 with a friend, you know, someone who's something like a similar player to you. Put, you know, £10, $10, whatever, put it down on the line. Whoever wins gets it, and you're only allowed to use a Lancer. That match will never, ever, ever end. Or someone will push and that person will die, because You just cannot push a Lancer with a Lancer. It just 1v1s with Lancers just do not work. And, you know, it's pretty much... It's very, very hard to push a Lancer with a Nasher in the same time. So this is why Lancers need to be support weapons. And I'm going to keep illustrating this. But that is basically it. That is the problem. So this is what people don't understand is when I say support weapon, I mean it really needs to be something that just cannot hold its own against a Nasher. And like I keep saying, like I keep trying to illustrate here, people don't really understand in public. So I get a lot of people saying, oh no, Lancers should be balanced, the weapon should be balanced. You know, I like using my Lancer in public. No. You like using your Lancer because most people like using Nashers. If everybody used Lancers, then you would hate it. Everybody would hate it. It would be boring. It would be horrible. So this is the problem, because if a Lancer is a stronger weapon, and eventually everybody's going to get good at the game, and if you want to be good at the game, if you ever want to have like a tiny inkling of wanting to win, then you're going to use the best weapon for it, and that's going to be a Lancer. And then eventually people will come to the point where everybody's using a Lancer, and that's what happened in Gears of War 3 when you play scrims, when you play competitive matches. That's just how it happens. That's what happened to the game, and it just became a Lancer fest. And you know, occasionally people would use Nashers because they're in a 1v and they know, oh yeah, I can use a Nasher because I like using a Nasher, so I'm going to play this guy and we're going to have a Nasher fight. But they know in the back of their mind, I could use a Lancer and I could win this easy, you know? And that's just how it was. So that's the problem with the people who don't understand how bad that the Lancer actually is. So how do we fix this? Well, like I said before, it needs to be a support weapon, and I believe that there's two ways of balancing a game. You either balance a game so each weapon has a purpose, each weapon is different, so there's different levels and different ways of using weapons, or you balance a game like Call of Duty so every weapon has relatively the same killing power. And a lot of people tend to think that that's the best way because Call of Duty is one of the most popular games out there. When they go into a new game, you know, they've all played Call of Duty. They go into a game like Gears of War and they're like, oh, I want the Lancer to be able to kill as much as the Nasher. I want my Snub to be able to kill as much as the Nasher. I want my Handburst to be able to kill as much as the Lancer. They want every weapon to be able to just kill the same. That's just not how Gears of War works. It's too much of an intricate tactical game to just allow that, because fights in Call of Duty are simple. They're just bang, 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 dead. That's not how it works in Gears of War. You have cover, you have movement, and fights don't just end in milliseconds. It's not so simple, so it allows for things like balancing weapons to have purposes, to actually be viable. So that's why we need the Lancer to be a support weapon, because that will allow the weapon to have a real purpose in the game. You know, you have teams using focus fire to pin players down, not using stopping power, but using accurate fire itself. You know, you can use things like one guy pushes with a Nasher, another guy supports him with a Lancer. It will be better than two guys pushing with a Nasher because it's less it will be less risky, and it will be better than pushing with two Lancers, because if he gets up in your face, then you're screwed. You know, that's just how it is, and that would allow for the game to be, or to have more depth and have more tactical prowess. But that's just how the game needs to be balanced in general. So how do you do this? Well, I think if you were to take, like, in general, I'm going to refer to Judgment as a better way of balancing, because a lot of the weapons in Judgment were a lot weaker. But if you were to take the weapon balance in Judgment, the Lancer does about, or kills someone in about 0.8 seconds. So that's 800 milliseconds, I believe, if I've got that right. I think it should be something more along the lines of 1.3 milliseconds, and you should reintroduce headshot multipliers to have a 1 second kill time. So there's a 1 second kill time with every shot hitting someone in the head, and it's a it's a 1.3 kill time to actually finish someone off outright with just, you know, chest shot, leg shot, whatever. you know, as long as you're hitting someone not in the head, that's how long it should take. And that would be great for just, I think that would be the perfect time if you're doing something imbalanced with Gears of War Judgment, but obviously if you're making a whole new game, weapons are going to be balanced differently. So I just think that's how the weapon should be balanced in terms of Judgment. But like I say, making a brand new game, just try and make it so the Nasher will always win a 1v, but the Lancer always has a purpose throughout the game as a support weapon. There are still a few things I wanted to go through here, but I think my time's pretty much coming to a close here, so I got pretty much everything off. I think I hammered the nail on the head, so if you agree with me, guys, let me know. If you don't, let me know. You know, just leave a comment giving your opinion in the comment section, because this is a discussion, this isn't a dictatorship. I'm not telling Epic how to make the game. I want to give my ideas out there and just let them, you know, pick what they like, you know, pick what makes sense. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching, and goodbye.